As we get a little closer here, this is a view from right in front of our nutrition bar. You can start seeing kind of the backside through the screens there. You can see our BTS, the backside of our Syncros, some of our treadmills, and our quantums, and you can see it. And I kind of want you to notice the garage doors as I'm talking here and as we go forward, because that'll come into play here in a second. Just another view of that here as we're looking down. You can see all the Syncros there and kind of some of the quantums. As we go down, another view from down in the end. This is from the other end, looking back towards that nutrition bar, kind of that opposite picture of that one, where you can see all 6 Syncros. When we get out in our indoor, this is where we start setting up. This is our typical setup for our sprints. That is 8, and so we have one more at this point now. You can see kind of on the background there, right below the BA of Bama, you can see that big screen. That is a mobile screen that we can hook up a computer to. We'll do a lot of our leaderboards and things like that, because we can move that around, put it where we want. So we'll do leaderboards on that as we go through. And then another view of that setup here. And I think as we look at it, and I'm going to hit speed focus here in a second so I don't have to pull slides back. I think what I want you guys to visualize right now is we talk about when we apply our 1080 stuff, it typically is all applied in one big bunch, but all these garage doors are up really from right here where our 1080s start, out those garage doors, and then the entire indoor. When we do our speed focus area, that is what it entails, is that entire area. And I'll go more into that here shortly. Then just some couple, Peter and Matt, just some nice marketing pics I thought I'd throw in here for you guys that look good. Our photography guys came over and did some stuff for us. But, okay, so our goals of speed focus are, number one, to provide a stimulus that nobody else can. Okay, that's what we want. We want to be able to individualize it and hyper focus on individualization of what these athletes are getting. We want to be able to use our staff, use our equipment, use our facility to get these guys better in a way that nobody else can. And so that's bottom line. That's what our goal with this is. I think how we do it is extremely unique. We will dedicate, again, and we talked about this, on Mondays and Fridays, we typically are about an hour and a half those days. Our structure is usually 90 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. And so Mondays and Fridays, we're 90 minutes. And so if you figure we're 30 minutes to this part, 30 and 30. So we'll typically have about a 30-minute block in that speed focus to get a lot of stuff done, okay? And so the goals of that, I've talked about already. We're going to hyper focus on individualization, using our assessments to really prescribe what guys are doing. We're going to do stuff in the speed and agility realm, and I'm going to go through each of these individually here. The speed and agility realm, okay, the acceleration. We're going to use every time we run, our 1080s are out there and we're using them, all of them, every single one of them. If we're inside, they're lined up like the picture I showed you. If they're outside, we got them on the grass. We got those little generators that plug in and recharge, and we're running through that stuff rapid fire, and every one of them's going, okay? We have stuff that we have that's group wide. Everybody's going to do it, okay? Our evaluations are showing this. Everybody's going to do this because we need it, okay? That's the beauty of our evaluation system, which again, I feel like it's second to none, but our evaluation system gives us what everybody needs to work on, and then we narrow that down to the very finest detail in each individual person. Injury modifications, again, when we talk about stuff with the 1080, you've watched every presenter show it, do it. It's a quick couple hits of the button, and we can change those loads, we can change the speeds, we can change what we need to do based on injuries. Individual stuff I've talked about a little bit, and the return to play piece of it, man, what an incredible tool for the return to play and how we utilize that. We will mix that in with our speed focus. We'll do it individually. As you guys know this, and I'm an athletic trainer still as well, like as you guys know this, you know, there's the area where they get hurt and they're in the training room and you can't do anything with them. You're pulling them in, doing individual stuff, doing one arm stuff, one leg stuff, just trying to keep them active in there. Then you got the area where they're back fully. And those are the two ends of the spectrum, and they're back fully. They might be a little limited, maybe not 100% full go yet, but they can be in every single workout, every single drill, every single practice. And then you got a lot of gray area in between there where there's a lot of things that you have to account for. Every individual handles injuries differently. Everything heals differently. Every injury is a little different, but we are using it. We are using our 1080s. Our athletic trainers use these for return to play metrics. We'll do measurements on them. We have pre and post and intermediate. And so we're looking at every piece of data, every exercise that they've ever done on these and every other piece of equipment that we have. But that return to play is a big piece of it, and we plug that into our speed focus once they get back in. And it might be a situation too where they never leave speed focus. We've had athletes do that too, where like they don't even go over because they can't do stuff on that side. They can't load up with a bar on their back yet. So we'll keep them in speed focus for the entire time because we have so much area that we can do things and individualize it for them as we go forward. So the speed and acceleration work, Again, I'm not going to hit on exactly what we do, but we're going to do it. It's involved in every single session. We're going to do it in one of two ways, okay? We're going to have a standalone piece of it. Typically, our top end speed days, especially as we go forward in the summers, are going to be standalone. They warm up as a group. They go right into our top end speed work as a group, okay? We run through all that. It's individualized, it's bucketed, however you want to talk about that. I'm typically standing out there running that station, getting people moved where they need to be moved to and getting them rolling. And then from there, they will go in and do speed focus and a lower body block and then flip from there. Or we have it like on an acceleration day. Typically, that's going to be done within speed focus. We're going to warm up together. Those days are a little longer, about 40 minutes on those days, 40, 45 minutes. And what we're going to do is we're going to get our acceleration work in and the combos of that. And I'm going to show you an example of that day as we go forward here. But an acceleration work in and then go right into the speed focus block and then right into another portion of that, and then individualize it down and then flip sides and go from there. But what are we going to do? We're going to do everything you possibly can. Everything everybody's talked about today, everything everybody's done, you know, the change of direction work, the acceleration work, messing with the intensities, messing with the distances. We have a pretty clear progression what we want to go through on everything that we do, but we're going to do it with everything we do. We're going to probably implement, we've done some towing and some assisted stuff over the past couple of years in really, really small doses. This is the first year we're going to broaden that out a little bit, and I'm excited for what that's going to look like as we go forward. And so that is kind of the piece that's the speed and acceleration work. The return to play work I talked about already. And so this is the one I want to get into here. This is an example of a day, and this is actually a day from last winter. And I'm going to apologize before I get started, because as I was talking to our staff, Clay is one of the guys that helps me with sports science. He's like, you know what'd be really bad is if you can get out there and get like a time-lapse video of this and what it looks like, because it's impressive how they move through here. And again, you can see like one thing, if you take nothing else, like look at how many reps they're getting in of all this stuff and how many things that we do on the Syncros and the 1080s and the quantums and how we set that up. And I'm going to walk through this here in a minute. I wish I would have got that done as soon as he gave me that idea. We went into spring ball and then we go right into this May break. And so I'm going to try to do that for the future, but it's incredible the intent that our guys have, how quickly they move, how urgently they move through this to make sure they get the stuff in, because they understand it. I think one of the things that's probably, you know, a benefit that maybe you don't think about as much with sports science and feedback and individualization is how much buy-in that creates with your athletes. Because if they know like how hard you work to put this stuff together for them, and they see that and they ask a question like, hey, why the hell are we doing this exercise? Like we got an exercise, and I saw it on, I can't remember whose video it was on that we saw it. It was like a Syncro skater squat, a Syncro one-leg isokinetic skater squat, which I'll blow something out if I demonstrate it. But it's one of the hardest things that we do. And we actually had one of our coaches come in. He played it at BAM, and he came in and he's like, you are crazy. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, what the is that? You know, and we're like, I think it's fun, right? No, not. But he said, I would have walked out. There's no way I'd do it. But we have 0 guys that do walk out. They ask why do we do it. I tell them why we do it. I explain why it's important to them specifically. Okay, jump in and away they go. So that buy-in's huge. So as they move through this, it's incredible to see how they move through this and the urgency they have. So this is a day, again, in the winter we do it a little different than we do in the summer, but we jump in there. We have done at this point, before we get to round 1, we have done a full warm-up already. We've done ground-based mobility. We've done movement prep. We've ramped them up. We've done form running. We've got them sprinting a little bit, and we're going to jump right into the first round here. So we're going to do 1080 sprints, 30 yards at 5 kilograms. We got interns. We almost have to warm our interns up too, because we got all those tripods that sit out there. Our interns are back there like sprinting back and forth, hitting buttons, assigning guys to each one. So they get them in there. So we're tracking every single one they do. We're yelling out speeds. We're yelling out power, whatever we decide that day. From there, they're going to walk across the other side of the field. They do a contrast sprint, which is a flying 10 for us that day. I believe it's a 15-yard ramp into a 10-yard sprint. We're displaying those times on the screen. And then go down to a med ball lunge putt, which is a kind of a single leg projection exercise with a deceleration and a single leg landing on that. They're going to go through that 4 times. We're going to come over. And again, when we do this, we have multiple coaches over there, and we have an army of interns, which again, that helps us do a lot of what we do. Okay, we have an army of interns. They'll come over there, and this is half of our offense, so just figure 25 to 30 guys. Okay, so now we set up, in this particular instance, 5 of these were set up in a barbell hip thrust, and we have very specific settings for low, medium, and really hard on that exercise. This today was a medium day. Okay, so it's pulling them down pretty good. They got to come up. We got a band around their knees for abduction. Okay, and they're running through 8 reps of that. So we had 5 of these set up. We had 5 of our quantum set up. So the last one of these, the 6th one in the row, we didn't have the bar up. It's set up just like this. And we had just the 2 quantums run individually with the 3 quantums on the back side. And so we had 5 and 5, so 2 5-station deals there. They're doing a quantum leg curl. This is what the hamstring roller got hooked up to it. We're bridging up. We're pulling in isokinetically with 2 legs, pausing, lift 1 leg up, and then it's pulling them out, controlling the eccentric on the way out, doing that 4 times each leg. Okay, the hop up from there. Now we go back out. We still got those interns doing gymnastics back behind there, hitting them in. Now we're tracking broad jump doubles. So jump, jump, stick, pause, reset, jump, jump, stick, pause, reset, and then get them going. They're going through that 3 times. Now again, everything that we say here, this is in general. So this is the general side of it. This is what we felt everybody needs. Again, within this, I got a list that goes out to each coach that helps us with speed focus, each intern that helps with speed focus, that says, hey, Matt, you need to do, you're not very fast, Matt, so you need to do 8 rounds of this. Just kidding, okay? We're gonna do, the guy might have to do an extra round of this. They might be coming back from an injury and we gotta bump up the resistance, okay? Or they can't do the contrast. They might have a hamstring issue that we know about that they got tagged on. Okay, they're doing an extra set of this. So we can modify that, manipulate that as we need to as the guys go through it. Again, when you're working with 25 versus 120, that helps us a little bit because we can shrink those groups up a little bit. And then depending on where their focus is and what we need to do, they can do any combination of this, okay? Typically on these days, we're gonna bucket guys. And whether it's a force production need, a hamstring need, a unilateral need, a low back issue, whatever it happens to be, we can bucket them. And based on the exercise that we have prescribed for that day, we have the space, we have the time, we have the equipment that we can set it up and get those guys through it. And they have a coach or an intern that's taking them through that entire thing. Okay? But that's what's really important. Again, some guys, like if it's a guy that's returned to play from injury, he might not really do 1 bucket, he might do multiple buckets. We might have a coach that just takes him through. We might have a guy that's real that has to just go do something. Like anything's gonna help you. Okay, so go out there and do it. But we're gonna get guys in there, we're gonna get them rolling through that and kind of select what they need to based on what they need. I've got a couple left here. I know I'm running close on time here, but I would say these, if I had to look back and I pulled this, just kind of, we talked about this a little bit within our staff, but if I had to pull anything, these are probably the ones that I think we use the most within our group setting. Again, when we start getting creative, when we start finding individual needs for guys, we're gonna deep dive in and do some crazy stuff to make sure we can do it right. But these are the ones that we feel we probably have in the most. The Syncro isokinetic belt squat, that's one. Again, Coach, you talked about this. We got some freaky dudes. We got some real freaky dudes. So that one's one we gotta be a little careful with because they can kind of outrun the motor a little bit, but we have some versions of that we do that work really well. The Smith machine squats, we saw several variations of that are incredible, that are awesome. The quantum pushback lunge, this one right here, I'd say this one is probably in, or a variation of that is in more than any other exercise we do on them. And that'd be, we're standing out in front here and we got it hooked up. And then it's pulling us in, and we have very specific settings we do. It's just pulling us in, rapid deceleration, and then rapid pushing back out. And we can add an additional step on that. We can, of course, change up the settings on that to make it harder, easier, pulling with more weight, pulling with more speed, whatever we need to do with that. The pistol squat to box is a tough one. The skater squat I mentioned already. I love the quantum reverse lunge, the step up. You gotta be a little careful, and the big guys don't do that one as well just because of balance and size and athleticism, but our skill guys do that one really well. We get a lot of bang for our buck out of that one. The hamstring, I talked about a couple of these already. The bilateral hinge, RDLs, I actually really like on that Syncro machine with some additional load on it. The barbell hip thrust, we talked about the quantum single leg RDL row we do a lot of. The upper body stuff, we're just starting to get in a little bit, not a ton. And the plyometric stuff, you guys have seen multiple different variations of that. So